Ladies and gentlemen, Sasha Srbulj!
Yeah, I didn't do anything during the pandemic. Not 1 inch of self-improvement. Not 1 iota. I didn't learn a new skill. I didn't learn a new language. I hope I'm in a crowd of like-minded people. Hope you guys didn't go out and buy Pelotons or something. Good, because if you come out of a pandemic with abs, you're a shitty person. Do we all have friends like that? People who came out of this thing with, like, in fitter condition? The whole world's suffering. Thousands of people are dying. I'm gonna do crunches, and I'm gonna work on my core. Fuck you. Have some sympathy. Have some empathy. The only way to come out of a pandemic is 15 pounds heavier with a Xanax addiction like a decent human being. Good. Good, I'm glad you're coming with me on that. When it started, the media was all about there's gonna be a baby boom. There's gonna be a baby boom. Americans are gonna be indoors all day. They're gonna be fucking. Nothing can stop Americans from fucking. No amount of anxiety or existential dread will stop Americans from fucking. On the internet for money, there was no baby boom. The only thing that happened is everybody opened up OnlyFans pages. And I can't because I got ugly feet, so. And by the way, some of you guys buying feet pictures, some of those are dudes, just so you know. Like, it's not judging, maybe that's your thing. Just a lot of guys in my part of Brooklyn with red toenails making a killing. And good for them. But anyway, during the pandemic, I was thinking of how to make money, and that story about the baby boom got me thinking, because you know how they know there's gonna be a baby boom? The sale of home pregnancy tests. Once the sale of home pregnancy tests go up, they know there's gonna be a baby boom. So that got me thinking, home pregnancy tests. That's a good industry to disrupt, right? No, because it's all in the name, home pregnancy tests. Home pregnancy, it implies you're at home, you're peeing on a stick, your partner's outside the door. Honey, are we pregnant? What's going on? That's really the best way that could go. Not that realistic. That's why I'm coming out with a new line of products called gas station bathroom pregnancy tests. For when he's not calling. Or how about this? Another line of products, slightly controversial, but I think necessary. High school girls' room pregnancy test. I know. Yeah. It just comes out of the box already positive. You know she's knocked up, right? Justin's pullout game sucks. It just comes out of the box already positive with a list of abortion clinics. In Canada, because TikTok on that shit. All right, since you're fans of abortion, I'll give you another one. No, this is true. So far, the government is allowing the mailing of home abortion pills, right? So if you're in the first 10 weeks of pregnancy and you live in an area where healthcare is hard to come by, they will mail you home abortion pills. But ladies, home in that name is also just a suggestion. You could take them anywhere. Fuck it, take them at church. See what happens. Take them at Thanksgiving dinner. Start a discussion. You wanted a tax cut, Dad. Before, just to get this clear, just so you know, I don't believe in anything. All right, just so we're clear. I don't believe in anything. When people hear that, oh, you're an atheist, you don't believe in God. It's not that, I don't. Here's the level I'm at. I don't believe you believe. I don't believe anybody believes in anything. All right? I was on a flight the other day. There were 2 Amish people on my flight. How does that work? Are there horses pulling this plane? How did they print their tickets? Nobody believes in anything. Washington Square Park, my whole life, I've been walking through Washington Square Park, and always the Hare Krishnas, right? Singing Hare Krishna. Only on sunny days. Why not when it's raining? Look, nobody believes in anything, all right? That's my point. We're all just fair weather Krishnas. All of us. And it's not just the, like, organized religion. I don't believe in, like, that's easy. I don't believe in, like, crystals. Touching a nerve here. Crystal. Here's how you know crystals are bullshit. Since February of 2022, the president of Ukraine has been begging the whole world, guys, send us anything you got. We need ammunition. We need weapons, blankets, medicine. At no point was he like, guys, we need crystals. Can you send crystals? Can you just please direct your chakras towards Putin. I don't believe in Reiki. Anybody? Do you know what this is, Reiki? It's like this touching, it's like energy, touching without feeling, right? Like, if you could feel without touching, I'd have figured out a way to masturbate like that a long time ago. That was real. I don't believe in vegans. I don't think they're real. I think they're rare. I think some of them exist, but I think most of them are sneaking cheese. You know what I mean? You've all met vegans, and you're like, really? I don't know. I don't think you have the fortitude. We've all been to parties where an excessive amount of cheese was eaten for the number of vegans present. It's just, the ratios don't line up. I don't believe in, this is a tough one. I don't believe in karma. I want to believe in karma. But, come on, if you do something bad, somebody does something bad's going to happen to him. The universe is going to make something bad happen. Really? It sounds like a bunch of bullshit poor people invented because they couldn't afford lawyers. It just sounds like karma's going to get him. No, it won't. No, it fucking won't. Prince is dead. Kissinger's 100. No, it won't. I don't believe in the new American or global religion, which is conspiracy theories. That's the new religion. Here's what you should know about conspiracy theories. All that conspiracy theories are is astrology for men. That's the logic. All it is. It's like when a woman can't accept the world, she turns to astrology. When a man can't accept it, he turns to Alex Jones. It's just... Yeah. It's the same dumb logic. And I blame everything on Mercury. I blame everything on the Jews. It's idiotic. So I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in anything unless I'm waiting for test results. Then I believe in everything. Then I Jesus, Buddha, Elon Musk, whatever, man. I don't believe in it. But some of the best people I've ever met are religious. I have a good friend, met him in college, and it was the first time I met somebody who was really religious. And he was telling me about this, the first time I learned about Catholic guilt. He said something, and I was like, I don't know, Catholic guilt. I got Catholic guilt. I'm like, what is Catholic guilt? And he goes, it's this concept that all Catholics have an internal sense of guilt. And I was like, oh, because of the genocide and child rape. He said, no, not that. It's like when you eat a lot of pizza and feel bad. I guess I was raised. We celebrated, Christmas and Easter, so I guess Christian. But here's where the Christians lost me. See if you're with me on this. None of the important stuff, none of the tenets, all that's good. But here's where the Christians lost me. Carpenter? You're telling me he was a carpenter? He was in the Union. He had like a pencil behind his ear. maybe for cash we can work something out. Like it's. He wasn't a carpenter. You know what Jesus was. He was a hippie. He was a hippie. He was handing out pamphlets at the bus stop. You know, a hippie. But what happened was, as they were spreading the religion, the church realized conservatives hate hippies. So they had to give Jesus a job. Nothing too fancy, something with his hands, you know? It was thrown together ad hoc at the last minute, kind of. It has that feeling. It has a feeling like they were proselytizing at one point and somebody in the back yelled out, "Well, what'd he do?" Excuse me? This Jesus guy you're telling me about. What'd he do? He was 33 years old, he didn't have a job? Oh, no, he had a job. He made this stool. He was a carpenter. That's it. That's because there's no carpentry mentioned in the Bible. There's no carpentry-related miracles in the Bible. Jesus never walked into a room like, bam, bookshelves. Like, there's... Also, let's think of this for a second. You're telling me they nailed a carpenter to a wooden cross and nobody said anything? I think our Lord and Savior had a sense of irony. I think he would have mentioned something up there. He was there half the day, right? He would have been like, "Teak? Are you kidding me?" Oh my God, somebody stabbed me with a spear. Also, if he was a carpenter, how hard would it be to sell that religion in that area? I mean, assuming he had clients, customers. What the hell was that like? "Hey, David, did you hear who God is?" "No, you remember the guy who did my benches?" You know what I did during the past, pandemic, during the past couple, I got older. That's the only thing I did. And that is a scam. Don't do that. It's because they tell you it's like, you get older, but you get wiser. No, you don't. I don't know. I know what sumac is now. Big fucking deal. Like, there's no wisdom. Like, and by the way, young people, don't listen to anybody older. They have no clue what's going on. It just appears like they know more than you because they have more money than you. All right? But that has nothing to do with them studying or working hard. It's just compound interest growth over time. They have no fucking clue. All right? This is the only wisdom with getting older. Listen, this is the only piece of wisdom with getting older. I'm tired now. I have the same dumb thoughts and urges. I'm just tired now, so I don't do them, all right? I would, but I'm taking a nap. It just slows down the amount of damage I can do to myself and the environment. It's not wisdom, it's default. Women, I find, in generally speaking, women are more conscious of their age. Women at least know their age. Men walk around in a delusion of perpetual youth. No, it's true. Okay. This happened a couple of months ago. I'm not joking. This happened a couple of months ago. Me and my friend are at a bar. We're the same age. We're like a couple months apart. And we're sitting at the bar. This woman walks by, and my friend goes, "Huh?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then he goes like, "Ah, I got you." I'm like, "What?" No, I got you." I'm like, "What?" "So you like MILFs, huh?" I'm like, "You mean women our age?" Women the same, and women like we went to college. That's Sarah. We know her, by the way. Like, yeah, sure, I like MILFs. I have that weird fetish where I like women my age. The weird thing about like aging is like you assume because it's time, right? Every day you get a little bit older, so you assume it's this downward glide. It's not. That's not how aging manifests itself. Aging manifests itself. What aging is like a series of abrupt drops. Like everything's normal for a long time, and then one day you're like, "Oh, what the fuck was that?" Like nothing changes, and then everything does. Like it's a Friday night, right? Like here's a typical like when you're 25, you're 25, right? It's Friday night, you're sitting in bed, right? It's typical Friday night. You sit in bed, you think, oh, what do I got going on later? I got that girl coming. I don't want to embarrass myself. I better masturbate now. You know what I mean? And that's a normal thought you have for a long time. That's the line, right? And then one day, and I mean one day, you're like 35, let's say, right? Everything's normal. You're sitting in bed and you're thinking, what do I got going on later? Oh, I got that girl coming. I don't want to embarrass myself. I better not masturbate now. That's the drop. We're like, oh, that's new. When did that happen? So how old am I? I just turned 45, which it's an abstract number. How old is 45? This is how old 45 is. 45 is so old that I should never DM anybody on Instagram ever again. Ever. If you're a male over 40, don't DM anybody on Instagram. It's creepy. Whatever you, and I mean, when I say anybody, I mean women, and when I say women, I mean younger women. Don't DM them. I mean, it's creepy. Whatever you write is creepy. Even if your intentions are 100% pure, and they're not. Like, it's creepy. Like, even like this girl I know, a comedian, her dad passed away, and she was posting all these stories about her dad, and I almost did it. I almost replied with a DM like, please accept my condolences, but I stopped myself. Too creepy. Even condolences are too creepy. You get text. That's all you get after 40. You can send a text. A normal, hey Sarah, I don't know if you remember me. We met at Mark's party. You were wearing those boots. It doesn't matter. Please accept my condolences. Thirst trap, not for you. Not for you. It's for somebody else. And then you just jump in there, hey, where are you at the beach? You know, it's terrible. Don't do it. And people, I do this joke, and afterwards, a lot of times guys in their 40s will walk up to me and be like, I DM her, but, they DM me back. She DMs me back, so that's okay. I can Dude, of course she's going to DM you back, right? I mean, you've been hanging out for so many years with her dad. She has to reply. When you're, also when you get older, you gotta like work out. You gotta go to the gym and work out. Not to look good, just to look human. Just to battle entropy. It's a losing battle. So if you got, something I learned about if you go to the gym, you get approached by personal trainers a lot. They'll approach you with that, like, first they'll approach you usually with that to help you out. Oh, you should straighten your back, then, oh, move out of your knees. Yeah, that, like that. And then they start telling you about what they do, and they try to sell you their services, right? That's always the move. They walk up to you, they help you out, and I also used to wonder, like, what do women feel like getting hit on by guys at clubs? I think it's what I feel like when I get approached by a personal trainer. Because it feels similar. You're sitting there minding your own business in your shorts, and this bigger person from the other end of the room starts looking at your body, and you're like, oh, God, I hope he doesn't walk over. And then he walks over. Apparently, like, he wants to help you out. He's, like, interested in you, but I know what he really wants. And it's just uncomfortable. You don't want to be rude, but at the same time, you're just waiting for that right moment where you tell him that you already have a personal trainer. Just because things between me and Marcus aren't really progressing, I'm not going to jump on the next personal trainer that walks up to me. I mean, I have a little bit more self-respect than that. So what they do a lot of times, personal trainers, they when they talk to you, they're like, what look are you going for? What are your goals? What kind of look are you going for? And they've asked me that so many times that I had to come up with an answer. So I was thinking about it. So next time somebody asked me, like, what look are you going for? I was like, you know what look I'm going for? I'm going for that Javier Bardem look where I've let myself go, but women still want to fuck me. How do we do that? How do we thread that needle? Should we learn Spanish? I don't know if look, maybe we shouldn't be, none of us should be that nervous about getting older. Older people run the world. All the rules on the planet are made by older people for older people. You realize that? It's all older men making up the rules for their own benefit. All the rules, whatever it is, economic rules, societal rules, religious rules. Think about this. Every religion on the planet started in different areas at different times. Some in South America, some in Middle East, some in Far East, whatever. Started at different times in history. You find it weird that they all have hats? Isn't it a bit weird that God said you got to cover your head. God said that. Every religion on the planet, God told them, you got to cover your head. At least right here. At least right there. Really? God said that? It isn't maybe that you're going bald a little and now we all got to wear hats? Just the older people are always the messengers. They're always telling us what. Like at the, if you guys remember during the pandemic, you had Bill Gates. Bill Gates was telling us about the vaccine and the pandemic, and Bill Gates was talking to us in a intelligent, rational, learned way. Wrong. We resent that. We don't like being talked to like that. We didn't need Bill Gates. Who we needed was Steve Jobs. Because Steve Jobs knew how to sell us on shit. And he knew how to sell us on shit because Steve Jobs had genuine contempt for humanity. Do you guys remember phones before Steve Jobs? We had Blackberries with 70 fucking buttons. And then Steve Jobs showed up and said, 1 button. It's all these idiots can handle. And his engineers were like, Steve, how are we going to make a phone with 1 button? 1 button? I'm not going to be happy until there's no buttons on it and the thing just turns on by looking at it. That's how stupid these motherfuckers are. He would have sold us on the vaccine. He would have sold us on the vaccine. He would have given Joe Rogan the first dose. Here you go, Joe. Make your muscles strong, Joe. I don't know. I guess are most of you from New York, or some of you from out of town? Cool. After the pandemic was like slowing down, I started traveling. It was hard for me to start traveling again, not because of the rules or anything. What happened was, I hadn't forgiven the rest of the country how they treated New York during the pandemic, right? Do you remember? I was in my apartment for a year, Lysoling my vegetables. The pandemic hit New York hardest and the first, right? And like they were 5 blocks away from my apartment. There were like freezer trucks in front of hospitals filled with bodies. It was terrible. The whole city was suffering. And the rest of the country could not be happier. They were gleeful. Everything you turned on the national media was like, New York is dead. New York is dead. It's dead. It's never coming back. It's just, all it is just a bunch of crackheads stabbing each other on the subway. It's just dead. They were so gleeful. It was, nobody does that for anything else. We don't do that for, like if there's a flood that happens in Alabama, you don't turn on the media. Alabama's dead. It's over. There's nothing there. Alabama's never coming back. It's just a bunch of hillbillies cooking meth on top of a Walmart. It's over. It was brutal. It was brutal. Look, I don't share maybe the same values or lifestyle as people in other parts of the country, right? But when a tornado blows through Iowa, I don't root for the wind. That's... And then like the pandemic died down and they just showed up. Like we had 52 million tourists in New York last year. They just showed up in Times Square with their cargo shorts. Like they weren't talking shit for a year. No, you can't have Hamilton tickets. Yeah. Me and my buddy Crackhead McStabby over here are very upset. Look, the rest of the country thinks we're assholes. That's the stereotype of New Yorkers, that we're assholes. It's unfair. It's an unfair stereotype. It's an unfair, well-deserved stereotype. And when I travel, I have to tamp it down. I gotta, I always tell myself, these people are nice. Don't be a dick like in New York. You gotta be nice to these people. like we flew into Portland once, and we had like an hour between the show. We had to quickly get something to eat. We're checking into the hotel. There's 3 people behind the counter, and we're like, we got about an hour to kill. You guys know like a quick place to eat, like maybe a Thai place around here somewhere? And there's 3 people behind the counter. They were like silent for 5-6 seconds, and then one of them goes, "My favorite Thai place closed down during the pandemic, and I haven't found a new one." And the guy, push it down, just be quiet. No, but we lucked out because there was a guy behind us, a guest at the hotel, who gave a recommendation. This is what he looked like. He was wearing a black suit with a black shirt, black collar shirt, and he had one of those, those throat tattoos? You know when people, like he had a big black and red rose, and he was like, "I know a Thai place. It's 3 blocks down." I'm like, "Oh, thank you, sir." Very appreciative. We went upstairs, we changed, we went back down. As we're going through the lobby to leave for that Thai place, I turn and I see that guy with the throat tattoo who gave us the recommendation. I see him by the pool in his swimming trunks. And I notice something. He only has the throat tattoo. He started with the throat. Like usually, you see somebody, you think, oh, he's got both sleeves, it's already up to here. No, he started with the throat. Now I'm not sure about the Thai place anymore, and starting with the throat is as if you go home tonight and like, "Honey, we're starting with anal." No lube, no foreplay, nothing. You know what? Also, another thing that's weird about traveling. Yeah. I'll let the anal thing wash over you. Another thing that's weird about traveling right now around the country is that weed is differently regulated in different states. So some states it's like, they're putting it in candy. In other states it's still a felony. It's weird. And in the places where it's legal, there's like different levels of weed stores. There's like the regular ones, like a bodega, And then there's ones that are super fancy. So if you go to the super fancy ones, they have like weed sommeliers. Do you know what this is? Yes, bud tenders, weed sommeliers. For those of you who don't, those are guys like you walk in there and they tell you like about the strain. This strain is very good for like relaxing reading. This is a good strain if you want to do something physical like work out. Oh, this is a good strain for socializing, going out. That's all cool, but that's not a sommelier, right? A sommelier tells you how the wine tastes. He doesn't tell you what you're going to do later. You ever go to a restaurant, the sommelier is like, "Yes, you're going to feel some of those fruity overtones. Yes, you taste some of that dry cherry. Yeah. And later tonight, you're going to fuck your ex. Enjoy your dinner." Anybody ever go to a whiskey tasting? Yeah, you go to whiskey tasting. The guy's never like, you swirl it around. After the heat, you're going to feel some of that cask flavor, right? And when you go home tonight, you're going to beat the shit out of your wife. Good laugh on the wife beating. Some crowds pull back, not you. You know what's good about traveling around. All right, if you grew up in like a major market city, like New York, LA, whatever, you're used to things that you didn't know you were used to until you leave a major market area. Like if you grew up in New York, LA, whatever, you're used to good-looking people on TV. And I mean, even on your local news, you're used to good-looking people. When you travel outside of major markets, there's some dumpy-looking people on the local news. And when I travel, I turn on the local news and they see the dumpy-looking people on the local news, I think to myself, I could afford a house here. That's how I judge real estate now. That's my Zillow. See a dumpy-looking weather lady. I'm like, 3-car garage. I'm killing it here. This is you should. I've developed all these like ways to pass time at airports, and this is fun. I recommend you do this. If you're we're traveling, it's the summer. You're gonna be at airports. The bigger the airport, the better. What I like to do is I like to go from gate to gate and check the vibe, because each gate at an airport feels a little bit like the destination city, right? So if you go to the gate that's going to Honolulu, it feels a bit like Hawaii. Everybody's wearing those shirts. It smells like cocoa butter. You're already at the beach. You go to the gate that's flying to Paris. It's romantic, trip of a lifetime, But the other week I was flying to Buffalo, and just different vibe, like just a lot of guys walking around. Yeah, grandma died. Look, at least we're not in Florida. Thank you. At least we're not in Florida. When I was young, when you were years ago, Florida used to be, when I was a kid, Florida used to be a place where people moved to retire. That's what it was famous for. And it still is. People still move to Florida to retire. But what you should realize is that whatever age you move to Florida, even if you move to Florida at 25, you're retired. Nobody moves to Florida to grind. Nobody moves to Florida to kill it. Nobody's ever moved to Florida. I'm moving to Florida because I want to be surrounded by the most competitive people in my field. It's fucking Margaritaville. It's over. Unless you're selling meth, then yes. Then it's like the meth Olympics down there. But no, Florida's the kind of state where everybody's really surprised when the toxicology report comes back negative. Really? Nothing? He wrapped himself around a tree going 150 miles an hour. Nothing. Just weed and Adderall. Okay. It's a Florida negative. They passed a law in Florida called the Don't Say Gay bill. Do you know about this? Yeah, so it's a law. All right, vote next time. I don't know. The law basically, for those the law basically states that you can't say the word gay in schools in Florida. Wow. Exactly, in Florida. A state that's shaped like a penis. A state with places like the Keys and South Beach. Pretty gay areas. You realize what that means? There's a kid right now in South Beach. There's a kid right now at a school in South Beach who's like, Miss Krabappel, my dad can't pick me up tonight. So the guy picking me up is, I don't know how to say, the guy my dad is fucking? Can we? Anytime they do this, anytime they don't say gay bill, or they do we don't want a pride parade in our town, the logic, and they tell you this, the logic behind it is, well, we don't want to promote those values. Because if we promote those values, then more people are going to be gay. Think about the logic. Think about this logic. This is how they think. Think about this logic. Can you imagine being one parade away from being gay? Just imagine. You're on the edge. You don't even know it. You're just on the edge. You're walking around town. You don't even know. And then you turn and you see the parade. Ah, shit. Ah, damn it. Now I want to suck dick. Shit. That's how they think it works. They think there's a quota. They think, hey, Bill, you want to go see the parade? I don't know, man. I had an appletini earlier. I don't want to push it, I did. You know what I did during the? I watched a lot of documentaries. Did anybody catch the Stonewall documentary? No? You know what Stonewall is? Does everybody? All right. So for those of you who don't know, Stonewall is like it's basically a bar in Greenwich Village where gay people fought back against police brutality. They started a protest. It turned into a riot. It was a seminal moment in human rights and gay liberation, right? And there's a documentary about it. And they fought back against police brutality. I'm watching this documentary, and in the middle of it, my mom calls up. And she's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm watching the Stonewall documentary." Oh, she goes, "Watch it carefully, because your Uncle Davey was at Stonewall." It was the first time I found out about this, like a year ago. I'm like, yeah, he was at Stonewall. I had this uncle, he died in '92. I never really knew him. And now I'm finding out he was at Stonewall. So I rewind the movie, I start watching, you know how all those documentaries have pictures, photographs from, and I started watching this, and I found a picture of him. My uncle at Stonewall, at the Stonewall riots, there's a picture of my Uncle Davey. He was in the 13th precinct. And there's footage of him hitting a drag queen. He was at Stonewall, it still counts. There's no Uncle Davey, all right? This is all... Jesus Christ, man, you guys are tight. We went on a little journey together. There's no Uncle Davey. Calm the fuck down, all right? I don't have a dead cop uncle. Jesus Christ, you can't even be a dead cop anymore. Anyway. Anybody going to Europe? I like going to Europe. Yeah. You know what's fun about going to Europe? Not this, but sometimes when I go to Europe and I see other Americans, that's always, and you're like, oh, I hope they don't say something stupid. And they do. And I was in Barcelona, great place. They have good comedy. And I was in Barcelona, and I was at a bar writing down a set, and this American couple, nice couple, 30s, something like that, sitting, nice looking, cool couple, and the lady was pouring them wine and making like small talk to the bartender, and she's like, "So where you guys from the States? Where in the States?" And the guy goes, "Well, Virginia, but Cleveland originally, so you know." No, she doesn't know. I don't know. The fuck are you talking about? It's like moving from a Starbucks to another Starbucks. It's like, what was she supposed to do? Stop mid-pour like, oh my God, was it hard for you to adjust culturally? I mean, we're a country, like, America's a very special country. We're a country of immigrants, all right? And that's true, but there's another thing that's even more special about America. We're a country of immigrants only in one direction. We're the only country in the world that doesn't have an immigrant population. There's no American immigrants outside of America. I mean, there's expats, yeah, but nobody gives a shit about that. That's like, I'm going to Europe to find myself. Fuck you. That's not an immigrant. I'm talking about dudes who work with drywall. Like there's no string of American tire care centers somewhere in Europe. You know what I mean? There's no little Pittsburgh on the outskirts of Paris. Full of fat people with guns, like this. And some people, like, the difference between immigrants and expats, do we all know that? So basically, generally speaking, if you move from a rich country to a poor country, you're an expat, or laterally, whatever. But if you move from a poor country to a rich country, you're an immigrant, right? And if some of you don't, there's some people who don't know, am I an expat or an immigrant? There's a test. There's a proven test. If you don't know whether you're an expat or an immigrant, what you should do is start dating a local. And if their family hates you, you're an immigrant. That's how that works. I like this thing about Europe. Europe does this well. Europe, they'll take a person like, a guy who works at a gas station or like a, cashier, right? They take that person and they go, shut up. Just shut the hell up, all right? You got dental, you got health care, you got paid vacation, shut up. In America, we take that same person and we look at him and we go, you could do anything. You could be president one day. Just believe in yourself. which is insane. I mean, it's nuts. And the only reason we do it is so we don't have to give them health care. That's really what it is. What do you need health care for? You could be president one day. That's why we do it. Anyway, it's lip service. You guys remember lip service? Remember lip service during the pandemic? Remember that whole essential worker thing? Remember that? You guys are essential. Oh, we need you. You're so essential. You go out there in that toxic wasteland and grow those vegetables, and we'll be here at home just ordering shit from Amazon and watching the stock market artificially inflate. But you're essential. We need you. Oh, I'm essential? Can I get a living wage? You're essential. You're not irreplaceable. That's the difference. I was doing the set. It was just pretty dark, and like somebody was like, "Well, you believe in some things. You believe in the environment. You're an environmentalist." And that's not really a belief, but even in that section, like, I'm not like crazy. Like, my girlfriend's nuts about the environment. She's like, we can't have plastics in the house at all. Anything plastic, like, no. She's like a plastics Nazi. I'm not that extreme. I'm more like a plastics anti-Semite. Like, I don't think they should be in our schools, but I'm not crazy. That's my level in the environment. I do find it weird that there's still people who don't believe in like global warming. And I recently, a couple weeks ago, when it was really hot, I found proof positive of global warming. And my friend showed me an exchange he had with a guy on Grindr. So does everybody know what Grindr? All right, for those of you pretending not to know what Grindr is. Grindr is an app with which gay men find companionship. Is that good with legal? We good? All right. So my friend was showing me, this is proof of global warming. My friend was showing me this exchange, and they were talking about what they're into sexually. And the guy on the other end is like, "Yeah, man, I'm into everything. Just not today. It's too hot." That has never happened before, all right? A lot of people don't believe in global warming. It's all a cycle. Not this. This is new. My girlfriend has more gay friends than I do, and they're my gay friends now too. But because she knows them longer, sometimes when we go to like dinner or whatever, they'll talk a lot, and I'll just listen. I'm there, right? But because they're nice people, they want to get me involved in the conversation. So at least once a month, I got a gay guy turning to me going, "So I saw there was a football game last night." Which I appreciate. I don't watch football. I appreciate the thought. He's trying to get me involved. But it feels a bit as if I turned to a gay guy going, "Lady Gaga," right? Just because I like tits doesn't mean I watch football. And I don't watch really pro sports. And I've noticed something recently. A lot of my gay friends, they talk about RuPaul's Drag Race. You know that show? Yeah. They talk about RuPaul's Drag Race the way like typical straight guys talk about football. They'll be like, "She did not bring it last weekend. She better perform this Sunday or else they're going to cut her." You hear this and you're like, what the So I can't talk to them about RuPaul's Drag Race because I don't watch it. I can't talk to my straight friends about football because I don't watch it. Every party ends up with me in the corner with the guy on the spectrum talking about trains. All right, a lot of you have brothers and sons, apparently. Like they say, it's like people tell you it's expensive to have a girlfriend. No, it's expensive to have a lot of gay friends. If you have a lot of gay friends, every once in a while you get a text like, "Hey, you want to go to Ibiza this weekend? How are you putting this together?" You know the show Queer Eye? Yes. Every episode of Queer Eye should be followed by a show called Straight Accountant for the Queer Eye guys. It should just be a disheveled guy named Maury going through receipts like, "How do you guys live like this? The hell is a matcha latte? I have a problem with the show Queer Eye. Always had a problem with it. So ever since it started years ago, many years ago, I always thought it's bigoted. It's a bigoted concept for a show, right? Like what? They all have aesthetic taste because they're gay. I mean, it's a stereotype. It's a positive stereotype, right? But it's still a stereotype. It's still kind of bigoted. Like can you imagine? Just think of that concept of a show, that template. Apply it to any other minority. Think of it. Let's say there was a show on TV called Asian Eye. You know, just 5 Korean dudes helping your kids out with their math homework. How fucked up does that sound? Does that sound fucked? You could do it with other minorities. I don't want to do it. Yeah, so I don't like. Good thing is my girlfriend's very open-minded, and it's good to be open-minded. I think you have to be that in life. You have to, you know. But sometimes I have a feeling. Sometimes, like with her especially, sometimes it's confusing. Like if you know anybody who's super open, like broad, and it could be confusing sometimes because she's the kind of person who'll tell me like, I want you to know, Sasha, if you ever have a gay experience, I want you to share that with me. If that's a part of you, I want to know, and I want. So that's fine, right? But it could be confusing sometimes because like last month I came home and I was like, I woke her up, she was sleeping. I was like, I gotta tell you something. I kissed a dude, and then she goes, no, it's okay. If that's a part of you, if you have any, feelings like that, I want you to share that with me. If you have a gay part of you, I want you. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I thought it was a woman. Now she's mad. Now she's mad. It's confusing, right? Too open-minded. Like, and whatever, it could happen. I live in Bushwick. So, does anybody, I live in Bushwick. Does anybody know Bushwick? Yeah, it's a fun neighborhood, a lot of warehouses, parties. It's like an entire neighborhood made up of bike messengers. It's a very liberal neighborhood. And I'm a liberal guy, but in Bushwick, I'm Richard Nixon. And by the way, if you're not liberal, don't be. It's a nightmare. I'm just walking around all day like, is this organic? And I'm composting now. I don't know what I'm doing. Guys, if you're not liberal, just keep jet skiing to Florida. Enjoy yourself. This is what I want to do. I want to start this business. I want to start a business. I want to start a travel agency that sells being conservative for the weekend to liberals. I think it would be a good vacation. Just kick back. Just go to Myrtle Beach, get loaded. You don't have to recycle. You can eat all the trans fats you want. You just get loaded, hook up with a woman, and not care whether she had an orgasm. Just once in my life, just not be like, are you close? Is it okay if I? Like, just once. I mean, that's gotta be, just to make it all about you. All about me. Just sit there in bed, honey, it's all about me. And by the way, you're having that baby. Like, that level, to not care at that level. It's terrible, but it must be relaxing, right? Like, it's gotta be. Anyway, so there's Bushwick's cool. There's a large transgender community in Bushwick, and that's cool. But like when people from out of town come to visit from other parts of the country, sometimes it gets confusing. Like sometimes if somebody who's like gender ambiguous walks by, people from out of town that know me will like look at me. Like, what do you want me to do? Call it? Like you don't have Americans. We're very entitled. We feel like we have a right to know everybody's gender. Like if somebody's gender ambiguous, Americans are very entitled. Like we feel that if anybody walks by who's gender ambiguous, there should be an NFL-style referee that just jumps out like, born male, transitioning to female, pre-operation, first down. But the reason why I mentioned Bushwick, so do you know about this? I found this out a couple months ago. Kamala Harris's daughter lives in Bushwick. The vice president's daughter lives in Bushwick. Yeah, you know what that means? That means there's a whole bunch of Secret Service agents in my neighborhood pretending to be vegan graphic designers. And my hobby is now to try to spot them out. That's my, going to House of Yes, like, guy with the crew cut seems suspicious. I gotta go. Anyway, I gotta finish on this, but like, I like my neighborhood. It's very diverse, and I realized something. I think when they were teaching us, when we were kids, and they were teaching us about racism, they didn't really teach us well because they just told us racism is just hate and ignorance. It is, but it's not just hate and ignorance. It's not just racism isn't just like random hate, like hate anybody for anything. No, racism is you gotta hate the right people at the right time for the right reason. It's a narrative. You can't just go randomly hating for any. Like if you showed up to a Klan rally tomorrow and like these fucking Irish, they'd be like, "Whoa, buddy." You're about 100 years late on that. Like, some of us are Irish. We're focused on Mexicans right now. Like you gotta hate the right people, the right time, for the right reason. It's a canon, like Star Wars. You know, like Star Wars is a canon. You know how you have Star Wars nerds? Racists are hate nerds. That's all they are. They're nerds of hate. And you know how Star Wars nerds get pissed off if you get something wrong in their universe? You know, you're a Star Wars nerd and you're like, yeah, Kylo Ren is, Darth Vader's his father. It's his grandfather. Like, they get annoyed. Same thing with racists. Like, hey, buddy, we're focused on Mexicans right now. Oh, yeah, I hate Mexicans too. Yeah, sure. I hate Mexicans because they control the media. That's Jews, man. Like, they're hate nerds. And by the way, if you want to piss off racists, don't tell them we're all the same and we should love each other. What you should do is argue their dumb shit with your new dumb shit. Like, hey, buddy, no, that's the Jews control the media. No, man, I think it's the Mexicans. I'm pretty sure it's the Mexicans, man. There's a button on my remote. Everything turns Spanish. There's a whole channel on TV that's Mexican, man. I'm pretty sure it's the Mexicans. They will lose their fucking minds. All right, that being said, all right, listen, this is going to come off as racist. But come with me, all right? All right, listen. I think we as a country need to get together and approach our Italian-American brothers and sisters and be like, cut it out, all right? Let's just cut it out with, forget about, like that shit. Fucking cut it out. Especially because mostly Italians don't do that. It's mostly dudes from Long Island that have nothing to do with being Italian. I guess everybody's from fucking Long Island then. No, because it has nothing to do with Italy. It literally, if you get an anthropologist or linguist, at no point he's gonna be like, is it here in the Emilia-Romagna region of Italy is where the comes from? Sicily is the forget about. No. It's not Italy, it's Scorsese. And a lot of people on Long Island are annoyed that so many young people identify as trans. I'm annoyed at a lot of people in Long Island for identifying as Italians. Stop it. You're not Italian. I like doing I like doing that joke because every time I do that joke, I start it with, this is gonna sound racist, but come with me. And you guys should see what the crowd looks like when I say that. When I say this is gonna sound racist, but come with me, a lot of people in the crowd just go, what's he gonna say? And then other people go, say it. Say it. Thank you guys very much.
Sasha Srbulj, ladies